Hi everybody, it's the RetroYuuki and welcome to our first tutorial episode of how to use Lunar Magic to create your very first ever ROM hack of Super Mario World. In this episode, we're going to go over the basics of Lunar Magic. We're going to talk about the user interface or the UI. We're going to talk about how to add sprites, objects, and standing ground for Mario. And we're going to learn how to set up your emulator for testing, and we're finally going to learn how to test a level. And at the end of this episode, we're going to learn how to make your first level. So first and foremost, what you need to do is you're going to have your Lunar Magic downloaded. Links will be in the description below. You need your emulator like SNES 9X. Again, links in the description below. You need a clean copy of Super Mario World. Unfortunately for rules, I cannot provide that. You need to Google that for yourself. And that's it for now. So first, you're gonna see an empty one. So if we're gonna go to File, Open ROM, you find where you need your clean version of Super Mario World. I have it here. So we're going to double click that and we're going to open up this. So you may have noticed that this is familiar to you. By pressing page up, page down, you're gonna notice that nothing changed. It is Super Mario World, everybody. The basic game. All these levels you see here flashing before your eyes are levels from Super Mario World. Basically, everything is the same. The game never changed. But today, we're going to change it. It's called Super Mario World ROM Hack Making. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's start to learn how to use the UI and user interface. So let's take a look. Let's introduce you to the UI. So the top four icons are here are your regular open a recent file, open a level number, and save level to ROM. Those are your basic controls. Your undo button, your redo button. That's basically intro to that. Now this is where it's gonna get fun. We're gonna learn about layer 1 editing mode. We're going to learn about sprite editing, the add objects window, the add sprites window, the 8x8 and 16x16 map editor. We're also going to go to the Overworld Editor for a moment here. I'm also going to teach you guys screen exits later. So these 5 are screen exit base. We're going to talk about that later on in the series. And finally, the note box, the note block, is to change the music and the time limit. Now, the rest of these icons, I'm not going to touch on it until we get into the advanced tutorial series. This tutorial series is basically for those of you who want to start making your very first ROM hack. For my very first ROM hack demo, it took me 4 months. I'm going to tell you guys, it's not going to take you 4 months to learn this stuff if you learned it correctly. Now that I explained the UI, let's talk about starting to make stuff. Let's get rid of this stuff and let's make our own stuff. To do so, we're going to go to layer 1 editing mode, left click, Control A, and press the delete button. We're going to make our own stuff in here. Go to this green turtle shell sprite editing mode, left click, Control A, press delete. You may have noticed that 2 objects will not be deleted, however. This is the entrance to level 1 and the midway entrance. We're going to talk about screen exits later. You may have noticed that the goalpost is missing. That's considered as an object or a sprite. And there are 2 differences between the 2. We'll talk about that later. Now, let's get to the fun stuff. Let's learn how to add material to our map. To do so, click on the layer 1 editing mode, which is this LED icon on the top of your UI. We're going to also open the 16x16 map editor tile window, which looks like this on your right side of your screen. You may have noticed that these objects are familiar. This is from this level. Now, you may have noticed there are other objects in here that you usually don't see in the level, and that's because they are called palettes. So the colors will be based on what level that is from and the theme. So we're gonna go ahead and add some stuff. So notice how there are some blue squares. I'm gonna explain a way of how to make this easier for you later. So let's first go ahead and grab some objects. Let's go ahead and start putting some stuff for Mario to land on. Let's go ahead and scroll down to this particular tile, or one tile selected here. It's called 100 Act 100. And to do so, press the tile and right click where you want to place a tile. So for example, right here. Congratulations! You just added a tile. But it's not over yet. What we want to do is left click on the tile we just added, and you're going to see this arrow, this left right arrow to expand. We're going to hold down left click. We're going to go right to expand the ground. Now, I'm going to also do something cool. This, go ahead and go all the way down until you see this green blue section. This blue section is dedicated to organization. Right click on an empty spot. Then we're going to grab another tile. We're going to grab, let's say, this one. And then we're going to place it on the map. Right click on the empty part of the map here. Actually, that looks ugly. Let me go ahead and find a different tile. This one. This one right here. Yeah. That makes better. That looks better. And we're gonna expand it all the way. Now that we have done that, we're going to go ahead and put that tile right here. Then we're going to expand this to 2 squares. I'm going to explain why in a moment. We're also going to grab that top part as well. We're going to make some new objects, basically. We're also going to grab this tile, and we're going to place it here to denote that this is the bottom. Right there. We're going to also put that right here by right clicking. Then we're going to go ahead and place this tile. That's number 149. We're going to go scroll right, and we're going to hit the right click on this. This is a corner piece of the ledge. We're also going to do that here on our own section. Then we're going to need tile number 114C. Left click on that, and we're going to also add that to our map here. And we're also going to add that to our own piece. And finally, we're going to need a tile on the bottom right corner, and that is going to be this guy. See if for this guy right here. This is number 14F. Right click that, and then we're going to also right click here. So what did I just do? Not only we just added our map, our little object here, but we also added something here to make it our own. We're also going to need another tile, 14D, and we're going to go put it right here, and we're also going to introduce that to right here in this corner. And then another one we're going to need we're going to need the left side. That is going to be 14B. We're going to put it on the board there and on our own tile there. And finally, the top left corner is 146. And there you go. And finally, 146 goes on the board here. So, congratulations, you made two things. A platform for Mario to stand on the board, and we made on the right side, we made our own platform for future use. And this is going to be useful for later. Now that we learned how to add tiles in our map, now let's add enemies, let's add sprites, let's add the fun stuff. Now you can also add some cool stuff like the 3-up moon, the trees, and all the cool stuff. But we're gonna make it fun. Let's go ahead and start adding objects and sprites. Well, let's close the 16 by 16 map editor window and let's open up our boy, the Sprite Editor window, the Open Sprites window. Now we're gonna have some fun. But first, we also need to click the green turtle shell for Sprite Editor mode. We're going to first open up a turtle shell. We're going to open up with a green Koopa Troopa. And we're going to put him on the board. And congratulations, you just put him on the board. We're going to also add a red Koopa on the map here. And we're going to also add a green Power Koopa flying forward. Let's add him right there. Or whatever you want to add him. So there is how you start putting objects and sprites. You also notice there's Bullet Bill, there's a green Yoshi, we'll introduce you to him later. There's the silver POW block, we'll talk about that later. And anything that you see in normal Mario World. So everything is here for you to make your own very own ROM hack. Now that we introduce you to adding objects, sprites, and cool stuff, let's add a first exit. Let's add your very first exit. So first thing we need is a goalpost. Luckily for you, we have an object. We're going to open the Add Objects window, which is this turn block option. I'm going to close out the Add Sprites window for the moment. Now, to make this easier, we also need to put on the, we're going to need to put on the layer 1 because we're going to add objects. We're going to look for a goal post like this, or the goal point as they call it. We're going to right click on here, and congratulations, you just added the goal point. Let me just put this here. Now you may have noticed that there's also a midway point. We're going to talk about those later, because we're going to need to learn how to use the midway exits and midway entrances objects. So what do we have? We do not have a goal point. We have a goal point, we don't have a goal tape. To get the goal tape, we need to go back to add sprites. We're going to add a sprite again. And we're going to we're going to go to the green turtle shell, and we're going to add our goal tape. We want the normal exit goal point tape object sprite, right click where the goal is. All right, and congratulations, you just added your first exit. But it's not over yet. We need to learn how to test our ROM hack. Now that I showed you guys how to add the gold point and the gold tape, let's show you guys how to test our very first ROM hack. Now keep in mind you will need your emulator handy. To go to File, one thing we need to learn. Another thing, before we get into the good stuff, I want to briefly introduce you to the Overworld Editor. In episode 3 of this tutorial series, we're going to dive deep into the Overworld Editor, including pathing. But to get started, open up the Overworld Editor, which is this castle icon, and you're going to notice something familiar. This is the overworld of Super Mario World. Now to keep it simple, we're going to do whatever the game says. But we're going to change it to put level 1 on the map. So what's going to happen is, we're going to, now to make it simple, go click on Layer 1 Editor 16 by 16 Editor Mode, which is the Ghost House. You may have noticed there are now new icons lit up, including this boy, the Modify Level Tile Settings. Click on this box, this square. Normally this takes you to Yoshi's Island number 1, but we're going to change it to make it to our level 1. To do so, click on this yellow dot, which is a Modify Level Tile Settings. Left click this. You may have noticed this window popping up. What we want to do is level number to use for this tile. We want to go to level 1, not level 106. Level 106 goes to normal Yoshi's Island 1. We don't want that. Level 1. You may have noticed there's a level 0. Please remember that level 0 is actually the bonus stage. However, if you put level 0, you're never getting out of there. So press OK for our event here. And that's it. Now that we included level 1 on our map here, there's one important thing we need to do. We need to save the overworld to ROM. To do so, click on this save icon. The reason why we need to do this is because the overworld map editor and the Lunar Magic level editor are actually two separate files, if you will. Okay, so that's done. You're done with the overworld portion. You're not done with the Lunar Magic portion yet. You need to click Save Level to ROM. That is very important. Go to File. Now we're going to learn how to test the ROM hack. To start, click File, go to Emulator. There are a few things we need to learn to do. You need to set up your emulator to play a level To do so, click on Setup Emulator. You may have noticed I already have it. It's SNES 9X. Click Browse. Remember where your emulator is so that you can put your emulator on the board. Click on the emulator executable file and press Open and press OK. Now that you have done that, make sure you save your level to ROM in the event that it misses the level. Now that you're done with that, press File and go to Emulator, Run ROM and Emulator. And you're going to notice something familiar. This is Super Mario World, everybody. Welcome to Super Mario World. We're going to start a new game. Now, as you guys can see, I never changed the message box. I'm going to show you guys how to do that in the next episode when we talk about the Overworld Editor, including pathing, message boxes, overworld editing, and all that cool stuff. So let's go ahead and play. Now, Yoshi's house we never changed, but we changed this one. That is Vanilla Secret 2, which is the level 1. But as you guys can see, we have our own level here. We just made this level a few minutes ago. And congratulations, we cleared the level. And that's it. And we go to our next level, Yoshi's Island 3. Unfortunately, that's it. Because Yoshi's Island 3 is never changed. We never changed Yoshi's Island 3. So goodbye. So that is how you start. That is just the start of how to make a level ROM hack. In our next episode, we're going to go over the Overworld Editor more in depth, including making your own overworld, designing your overworld. We're going to learn how to do pathing, which is a very big part of this. We're also going to learn how to set up other cool stuff, including secret exits. That's another thing we're going to take a look at. We're also going to take a look at the tile selector. We're also going to take a look at this, the pathing. And we're going to take a look at the pathing, how the paths work. We're also going to go into event mode, how events work, and all that cool stuff. So you guys know, you guys are going to get used to learning how to use this stuff. Alright? If you guys need individual portions of this particular episode, I'll be splitting this up into section 1.2.1, 2.2, based on what you see here, okay? And if you guys need more help, let me know. I'll be happy to answer your questions. But for now, my fellow Emerald Hunters and ROM hack makers out there, this is RetroYuuki saying, enjoy ROM hack making, and I'll see you guys in Project Yuki.